The tragic disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie has captivated the nation, leaving millions glued to the unfolding drama. It all began on the night of January 31st, 2026, when Nancy was dropped off at her Tucson home after a quiet family dinner. At 9:50 p.m., the garage door closed, and her family left her, unaware that this would be the last time they would see her. Hours later, alarm bells began to ring. Her pacemaker, which had been monitored through an app, lost its connection sometime between 1:45 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. on February 1st. By Sunday morning, Nancy's absence became known, and her family began frantically searching for answers. The situation quickly escalated from a missing persons case to a potential abduction, as investigators discovered signs of forced entry into her home, along with a trail of blood. The urgency of her health crisis. Nancy's medical needs added a heartbreaking layer of urgency to the case. Suffering from chronic heart problems and relying on a pacemaker, her daily medications were crucial to her survival. Missing even a single dose could lead to rapid health deterioration, including cardiac events and confusion, which could become fatal. The clock was ticking, and every passing hour without Nancy's medication increased the risk to her life. Doctors emphasized the gravity of the situation, and as the days passed, the family's worry only deepened. Her children, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron, faced the agonizing possibility that their beloved mother and grandmother might not survive without her necessary treatments. With each day that passed without answers, the community grew more fearful for her safety. The first signs of trouble. By Sunday afternoon, February 1st, Nancy's family realized that something was terribly wrong. Her absence from church, a regular event she never missed, triggered immediate concern among friends and church members. After multiple attempts to contact her by phone and receiving no response, relatives went to her home to check on her. What they found was deeply unsettling. Her house was empty, and there were no signs of her having left voluntarily. The Pima County Sheriff's Department was called to the scene, and it quickly became clear that Nancy had been taken. Forced entry into the home, blood found on the porch, and signs of a struggle indicated a violent abduction. The investigation intensifies. As the investigation gained momentum, law enforcement quickly realized the severity of the situation. This was no ordinary missing persons case. Within hours, the Pima County Sheriff's Department declared Nancy's home a crime scene. The presence of blood at the scene confirmed that she had been forcibly taken. By Sunday evening, the FBI joined the investigation, and a large-scale search was launched. Volunteers, helicopters, and drones scoured the rugged terrain surrounding Nancy's home, while investigators combed through the property and spoke to neighbors. Despite these efforts, there were no clear leads or witnesses who could explain what had happened. The lack of visible evidence and the seclusion of the area made tracing Nancy's abductor incredibly challenging. The ransom demands. Begin by Tuesday, February 3rd, things took a darker turn when multiple media outlets reported receiving ransom demands via email. The messages, which were written in cryptic language, demanded millions of dollars in Bitcoin for Nancy's safe return. Some of the details in the messages seemed disturbingly accurate, including the clothes Nancy had been wearing when she disappeared and the specific damage to her home. Authorities took these communications seriously, but it was unclear whether the messages were from the actual abductor or from opportunistic individuals trying to capitalize on the case. The FBI and local law enforcement investigated these emails, but they still had no proof of life or any direct contact with the person who had taken Nancy. The family's heartfelt plea. On February 4th, the Guthrie family made a public plea for Nancy's safe return. Savannah, Annie, and Cameron appeared in an emotional video that was shared widely across social media and national news. In the video, they thanked the public for their support and shared heart-wrenching memories of their mother, describing her as kind, loyal, and full of faith. They addressed the ransom reports directly, urging the kidnappers to prove that Nancy was still alive. The family's message was simple. They were ready to listen and engage if the person holding Nancy was willing to communicate. The video, which ended with the family repeatedly saying, "We love you, Mom," went viral, drawing sympathy and support from people all over the world. A rising sense of desperation. As the search continued, it became increasingly clear that Nancy's health was in grave jeopardy. Without her medication, her condition could rapidly worsen. The family's plea for information became more urgent, and law enforcement's efforts intensified. By February 5th, forensic teams and search dogs were deployed to investigate the area further. The Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI remained focused on the case, although they had yet to identify any suspects or persons of interest. The public continued to send in tips, but most were unhelpful. Despite this, every tip was followed up on, with the hope that one of them would be the breakthrough they desperately needed: the role of social media and public support. As the days dragged on, social media played a significant role in keeping Nancy's case in the public eye. The family's plea for her safe return went viral, and people across the country joined in the search for Nancy, offering prayers and support. Candlelight vigils were held in Tucson, and messages of hope flooded social media platforms. These expressions of solidarity served as a reminder to the Guthrie family that they were not alone in their fight. The strength of the community's response became an important source of comfort during an unimaginable ordeal. However, despite the outpouring of support, law enforcement had no new leads, and Nancy's captors remained silent. Another ransom message and the $6 million demand. By February 7th, the ransom demands escalated. A new message was received, this time through the local K-Gun station. The kidnappers now demanded $6 million in Bitcoin for Nancy's release. The deadline for the payment was set for Monday, February 9th at 5 p.m. local time, with threats of harm if the ransom was not paid. The family released another emotional video, acknowledging the ransom demand and pleading for Nancy's safe return. The message was clear. They would pay any amount to bring their mother home. The video, like the previous one, quickly spread across social media and news outlets, further intensifying public interest in the case. The ongoing search for Nancy. By the 8th day of the search, February 8th, there were still no signs of Nancy's whereabouts, and no new contact from the kidnappers. The search continued as authorities combed the area, hoping for a breakthrough. Despite the increasing ransom demands, the family held on to hope that Nancy was still alive. The uncertainty surrounding the case, the mystery of the ransom messages, and the lack of direct contact with the kidnappers left both the family and the public in a state of constant anguish. As the deadline for the ransom demand loomed, the question remained: would Nancy be found alive, or would this nightmare stretch into something even darker? A nation holds its breath. The case of Nancy Guthrie has gripped the nation, and every new update only deepens the sense of fear and uncertainty. From the early signs of forced entry into her home to the chilling ransom demands, every detail of the investigation has been closely followed by the public. The family's heartbreaking videos, their pleas for Nancy's return, and their willingness to pay the ransom have all become key elements in the ongoing search. For now, the world waits, hoping for a miracle and praying that Nancy Guthrie will be brought home safely